Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AMA. I have to get used to the Insta response of everyone. I don't know why it's so weird, because I'm so used to streaming and everybody responds in like 2 seconds to what's happening. And instead, the instantaneous transmission is super weird. Actually, you know, it makes me think of the, I'm reading the Expanse books, and they talk a lot about how there's like, you know, light delay and whatever, and so somebody sends a message and you get it like 20 minutes or an hour later or whatever it is. That's how streaming is, you know. You guys are always like 3 seconds away, and now you're like standing next to me, which is super weird. It makes sense, but it also just it throws me off sometimes because I'm like, oh, are they predicting what I'm saying? But you're not. Anyways, oh, hang on. I forgot to start recording. Hey, everybody go back, hang on. I'm gonna start the recording now. Hello everyone, welcome to the AMA today. I forgot to start the recording for a few seconds, but at least I remembered, right? Because what if I did like half of this and then I was like, oh, I forgot to record the entire thing. Anyways, it's a very weird, this whole thing is a weird concept for me because it's just not streaming. It's like I'm just sitting here talking. I don't even know what to look at. I don't know what to do with my hands. Normally I just play video games and then I just talk while I'm doing that, but I have nothing else to do, so. Jazz hands. Well, I could be doing jazz hands, you just wouldn't be able to see. You wouldn't have any idea. I could be walking on a treadmill right now. I could be outside. You wouldn't know. No one's stopping me. Could you just like, you hear my keyboard like clicking in the background, you're like, what is she doing? Nothing, typing an email, you know. Okay, so let's dive into it. I went through and I collected a lot of the questions. I tried to mostly focus on the top voted ones, but of course, I'm gonna be doing some extra ones just because I don't know how long this is gonna go, so we'll just kind of go through as many as I can. I forgot to write down who asked each question, so I'm just gonna read off the question and then answer it, and that'll be that. So I think the number one question was, do you ever think about what comes after streaming and content creation, or is this just something you see as not really having an actual ending and envision yourself doing it for as long as you're able, or is it just not something that you think about? That's yours, Aki? You could just say that's yours and I would have no idea. Cue everyone in chat saying, that's mine. I asked that question. So I feel like with streaming, we have a lot, I feel like I get a lot of questions about streaming that also apply to just a regular job, and I don't think that you guys really, I don't know, I don't think people really think about that, but it's like, I mean, whatever your job is, it's like, do you think about what is gonna happen after, you know? Like if you are a teacher, you know, do you think about like, what is your next job going to be? You know, it's kind of, I mean, like my mom, for example, she's changed jobs quite a few times, and I don't know if she really is like planning what the next thing is necessarily. I don't know. I've always been terrible about having like a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and I just am like, you know what? I'm kind of just here for the ride. And I really don't know. Streaming is not something that I really imagined I would be doing as a job anyways, and it just kind of happened. And I've been doing it now for, this summer is gonna be 8 years, which is a very long time. This is the longest I've done anything except for be a student, pretty much. So I think, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna keep going for it for a while. It definitely, there are high points and low points, you know? There's days when I think, I don't know if I'll be able to stream for more than, you know, for another year. And not like if I'll want to, but if I'll just be able to make it as a streamer, you know? or if I need to find something else to do, you know, or there's times when I'm like, this is great, and I can do this for a lot longer, so I really don't know. The day before DB hits 100 months, I'm just gonna delete my channel. You guys will never see me again and have no idea what happened to me. I'll just be gone. That's it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like everything changes on a dime. Like, could any of us 5 years, I mean, 5 years ago, if you were like, my 5-year plan is to do this, and then it's like, boom, worldwide pandemic, war in Ukraine, and like 2.5 years of our lives have just been dominated by this thing that none of us could have even really predicted. So yeah, I feel like I think that's my nihilism that comes out, where I'm just like, I don't know, whatever happens, and I'm just gonna try and get through it, you know? So it's like things just happen and whatever. Yeah, like I'll deal with it when, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, and that's kind of it. Next question. Could I see myself ever moving to France, even if just for a couple of years? Fromage and I have actually talked about this. Obviously, I bought this house, and so I am not looking to move very soon. Many of you know that I have moved a billion times since I started streaming even, and just in the rest of my life, I've moved so many times. So the idea of moving again after having, you know, just, I'm like really getting settled into this house. And it's the same thing with, Fromage. Like she's not a big, I mean, who loves moving, you know? Is there anyone on earth who's just like, wow, I would really love to uproot my entire life and my routine and move again? I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about in the future, you know, who knows if we'll still live in the US like forever, or if we'll, you know, move to France or even move somewhere else. I don't know. That's another one of those things that's like a 10-year plan. Ha! Will the Earth even exist in 10 years? Probably not. We'll see. But yeah, I don't think I don't think it's a thing that is like not going to happen, you know? It's not a complete no. It's just, not really sure. I love where we live now, and we have plans for where we live now. My sister just moved very close to us, and so it's really nice to have family nearby, and we'll just see. Okay, next. Someone asked that I've always enjoyed when you switch things up with non-gaming streams, like cooking or Lego building. Is that something that you would like to do more of in the future? So the thing about that is just that it requires me to set up cameras and computers and just a lot of stuff, like in my kitchen or wherever. And I know that there are some streamers who have like a permanent streaming setup in their kitchen because they do it so often, but I don't want my living room to have cables or like my kitchen and stuff to have cables and like cameras and shit everywhere. So I like doing that stuff on occasion, but I like keeping it for special occasions rather than doing it all the time. Yeah, you know, if I had Shroud money and I could just buy like if I could just buy my neighbor's house next door, you know, and then I'll just set up cameras everywhere, and that'll just be the streaming house. So when I want to go to work, I just walk next door, and that's it. So I just don't like having the cameras and stuff everywhere. I just like having, I don't know. I think they're nice to do as special events. I still have that, the UCS Star Destroyer that I want to build, and I was actually talking to Fromage about it this morning, because I have some ideas about that. I just don't know what to do with it when I build it, which is the only reason that like the main reason that I haven't built it yet is I just don't know where to put it afterward. So it's just in a box in the garage. And so I've been thinking about if I could do, like, if I could build the whole thing in one sitting, because here's the thing. So the Falcon took me 30 hours, 30 plus hours. It's 7,500 pieces. But I was building it very slow, like very casual, just kind of hanging out, talking to chat, etc., etc. The Star Destroyer is only, you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes with my fingers. It's only like 4,500 pieces, so it's like 2/3 the amount of pieces. And I think if I like prepped it in advance and I tried to, if I tried to take less time talking to chat and like hanging out. The other thing is that when I was building the Falcon, I would take out all the pieces and like organize them all and then build them, and it's just a lot of extra time. So it's a lot less pieces, which is convenient. But yeah, I was thinking if I could do like a charity stream or something and try to just do it all in one sitting. I think that would be cool. A subathon. Yeah. Subathons kind of, they stress me out. I don't know why. I think it's like the idea that I don't get to decide when I end the stream that freaks me out. I guess that's like the point. But when then I see people doing, it's like subathon, they've been live for like 6 days and I just don't. I can't do that. I just can't. I don't know. I don't want to be at my computer that long or doing anything for that long. It's too much. Yeah, that's what I was actually thinking, that I could set up like I want to get like a folding table probably and just put it in the garage. And that could work. Yes. So I don't know. That's just an idea that I'm kicking around in my brain. Okay. What else? Someone asked, how do Rhea and Nova get along? And I see you guys asking this question sometimes in chat. We mostly just kind of keep them apart from each other. They don't fight, but they don't really care about, well, so Rhea does not like the cat. Nova, I think, is very interested in Rhea, but also keeps her distance. So they're not like, they're not like hanging out together or whatever, but they also aren't like, they're not freaking out at each other all the time, mostly. And we knew that going in, that with Rhea, it wouldn't be possible to have a cat or another dog. And speak of Nova, hi. I love cat. She just walked in here and just looked up at me. So we knew that going in, that we were not going to be able to keep them in like the same space, and that they're not going to be able to like hang out. Rhea is a German Shepherd with a very high prey drive. She, squirrels, birds, well, not birds, mostly she ignores the birds, but squirrels and whatever, she will chase them. But she's also a very well-behaved dog, in that if I tell her to stop, she will stop mid-run, which is great. Because I say that because I had one time before we had Nova, there was a cat just like in the street that our neighbors left outside, and Rhea saw the cat and started like kind of like she was gonna run after it, and I told her to stop, and she did. And I think that's really important when you have a dog like mine, to have voice control over your dog, where if I tell her to stop, she stops in her tracks instantly. And so that, I don't know how to, it would be great if they could hang out together, but we knew that they weren't going to be able to. Like, it's just not going to work out. So they get along in that they live together in the same place, but Nova just keeps her distance, and Rhea just kind of ignores her. So, and now she's sitting and looking at the bucket, but I fixed your bucket. Wait, did it break itself again? I think it broke itself again. I feel bad. I feel bad, Nova. I fixed it yesterday, I promise, but I think it unfixed itself again. I'll have to refix it better, I guess. She's just staring at me. I don't know. Yeah, she has a little window bucket that has 3 big suction cups, and 2 of them are stuck to the window and 1 of them has come loose, and I fixed it yesterday, and then for some reason it's decided to disconnect again. But I think if I just take the whole thing off and like clean the suction cups. Now that I've moved the Red Bull fridge, I can actually access it easier, so it's not too bad. Okay, so someone asked what advice I would give to 20-year-old Anne, and I did not know how to answer this. I made like a Google document, and I put some notes in here, stuff that I wanted to mention. I don't know. I don't know what, because the thing is that when I was 20, I was in college, and I was working, and I was a student, and I think, yeah, the idea of being like, what advice would you give to yourself is kind of just, it kind of feels like it's indicating some kind of regret, you know, where it's like, what would you have told yourself so that you could do things differently, you know? And I don't know, I think that everything kind of happens for, maybe like not for a reason necessarily, not like there's some kind of grand plan, but just that's, you know, like whatever happens kind of happens. And like, I could say, you know, now that I am a streamer, me going to college wasn't really necessary. But when I was in college, being a streamer was barely even a thing. And so I wouldn't have known, you know, everything that I did, you know, I went to college and then I got a job and then I started watching streams while I was at that job. The job that I got because I was in college and because of the guy who owned the company that I worked for was also a teacher at my school. So, you know, college led to where I am now in a way. And so it's hard to say like, okay, well, just, you know, tell yourself not to do that thing. Because everything led to where I am now. I thought there was an earthquake and it was because the cat is jumping on my desk. What are you doing? Sorry, I'm gonna drink some water real quick. You guys can't see me, and so when there's just like silence, it's like you don't know what's happening because you can't see. Nova, she's just causing chaos back behind my monitors now. The silence is deafening. I know. When I upload the recording, I'm gonna need to like put background music or something. I don't know. So yeah, I guess yeah, buy Bitcoin is the buy Bitcoin at 20 and then sell it. But God, even in college, at 20, I wouldn't have had money for Bitcoin. That's not happening. Q&A over frag montage. I can, what is that, like, CS surfing thing that people do or whatever, where they're, like, jumping around and wear earplugs at concerts? By 20, my hearing was already fucked up by 20. That wouldn't have helped. My problem with my hearing is that when I was in high school, so before I was 18 even, I was going to underground, like, basement concerts. So it's like, you know, an enclosed concrete box with a full band and PA system and whatever. So that's, you know, if I could give advice to 10-year-old me, it would have been, you know, wear earplugs for sure. Somebody asked, what are some hobbies that you enjoy doing in your free time? And I wrote free time LMAO. So, this is like my least favorite question, and not in a way that is like, I wish you hadn't asked. It's just that I never know what to say. And I always hate answering it because it's like, it's like if you ask a person, imagine you go on a date with somebody and you're like, what are your hobbies? And they're like, I don't have hobbies. You would be like, okay, that's weird. And so that's what I feel like every time when people are like, what do you do outside of streaming? And I'm just like, literally nothing. I survive, you know, I sleep, I eat, I shower, I do my laundry, you know, I try to work out, and that's like, I take care of my pets, you know? So that's kind of it. Reading? Does reading count as a hobby? Listening to audiobooks, I guess, is the main... That's probably the only, you know... The occasional TV show. Yeah. Well, then, no, let's say that then. That's my main thing, audiobooks. I like reading a lot. When I was a kid, I read a ton. My sister and I were reading fiends. And our local library would have a summer reading thing. And I hope that they trusted us and that they never thought that we were cheating. Because we would just... You had to read like X amount of books in a certain amount of time or whatever, and we would just go through them so fast. And I would legitimately read them, but we just loved reading so much, so fast. And I would legitimately speed reading. And so we would get done with the summer thing in like, you know, a couple weeks. And now I can't read books generally because I never have time to just like sit and look at a book. So I like audiobooks a lot because I can walk my dog and listen to an audiobook, whereas I can't walk my dog and read a book at the same time. Otherwise, I'm gonna step on snails. There's a lot of snails around here, and it's really gross. So I can't cook dinner and read a book. I have to, you know, listen to an audiobook. So, so yeah, so audiobooks are fantastic. I love them. And mostly I've read / listened to pretty much every Star Wars audiobook that exists. And now I'm working on The Expanse. And I don't know what I'm going to work on after that, but maybe Dune, actually. I have the physical books of Dune, and I read it a long time ago, but I would like to probably listen to the audiobooks, I think. Yeah, when I'm like driving in the car and stuff, I listen to audiobooks a lot, just all the time. I think I actually, at this point, I listen to audiobooks more than I listen to music. And I remember I did a Spotify thing like 2 years ago, like the Spotify Wrapped, whatever. And I feel like my music count in Spotify is so much lower than my Audible listening time would be, because I just listen to audiobooks like crazy. And then, yeah, I mean, Fromage and I do puzzles sometimes. Lego stuff. I've been just slowly but surely working on setting up music stuff, on the side. Which... I feel kind of, like, blocked by that just because I don't really... It's one of those ideas that's so big that I don't know where to start, and so I feel like I just have to start at some spot. And just go from there. But I feel like I've just kind of been putting it off forever and ever, and I need to just kind of put one foot in front of the other for that. Oh, also photography. I did a lot of concert photography as a kid, or as like a, I don't know, high school or college student. And I know you guys probably saw recently that I did the Trivium Lamb of God concert photos. That was pretty cool. It was nostalgic for me, and it was nice to kind of get back into that. And I would like to do that more, I think. But it's also hard because I don't work for a publication, and so to get the, like, a press pass, you know? It's a bit more tough when you don't work for a publication, you know? Like, I have no reason to actually be there other than just it's fun for me to do. And so I thought about asking the woman who helped me with the Trivium stuff. She was like Matt's contact or whatever. And so I was going to ask her if there's other concerts near me, if I can get passes in the future, just for the heck of it. So, yeah, the Deftones concert I am going to, but I don't have a photo pass for that. That'd be cool though. I don't know if I could get a press pass for that, but it would be cool. And yeah, no, I talked about The Expanse before on stream. So for those people listening to just the audio, someone asked if my questions from Twitter about The Expanse got cleared up, and they did not. I just think that the writers kind of shoehorned that whole thing, and I've talked about it on stream before, where I'm kind of mad about the way that they treated one of the characters, and they just kind of blew past it and never really solved that, I think. So it's fine. I don't know. It can't be Notebook is perfect except for the Thrawn series, so oh well. That's it. Hang on. Water break. I feel like with the stage events, I talk so much more because there's nothing else going on. And so my throat starts to hurt very quickly because, you know, when you're playing a video game, there's stuff happening in the game, so I don't have to talk, like, constantly. And this is like, yeah, there's no filler. It's just me talking for, like, you know, an hour straight or whatever it is. All right. So, the next question. So I'm just answering the questions that came from the channel before that you guys were voting on, and then I will also try to, if we have time, to answer questions in the from the chat. Then I will do that also. Let's see what's next. I think this was Lydia that asked about my setup. You asked, do you have any tips to share for people who are a bit overwhelmed trying to decorate a home office or gaming room? The two main sources of inspiration that I use are on Reddit. There are two subreddits. One is called Battle Stations, which is people posting photos of their computer setup, their monitors, and all that stuff. And the other one is Male Living Space, actually. I don't like the Female Living Space one because I don't like the style that they go for most of the time, and also there's just less people using it, and so there's less content and, you know, inspiration and that kind of stuff. So I really like the Male Living Space one because of just the style of the interior design and that kind of stuff. And other than that, I don't really know. It's mostly about function for me. For interior design stuff, I feel like I'm generally a more function over form person. A lot of my streaming stuff, especially, is like the result of many years of me saying, how can I make this better? What can I try that will make this look nicer or take up less space? I think I explained on stream a couple weeks ago or something about how I used to be, when you want to have lights in, you know, around your camera, I get really annoyed because I have to have like a giant tripod that takes up a ton of space on the ground. And so now I actually have these really cool, like, they're called Varipoles, by a lighting company called Impact. And they're just like, it's a straight vertical pole that has like a 2-inch diameter or maybe less than that. And it just goes from floor to ceiling, and I can mount stuff to those poles, and they're really cool, and I'm really happy with them. And so yeah, but I mean, that's the result of me doing this for many years. You know, you just like buy stuff and, you know, put it up, see if you like it, and then I switch out things a lot. And all the other stuff is just things that I've accumulated, yeah. You know, the Falcon, and Fromage is really good with this kind of interior design stuff. She's way better eye for that kind of thing, and I think I kind of struggle, but she'll say, you know, like, oh, this is good for breaking up the vertical space or whatever, and I'm just like, yeah, okay. I don't know. Sure. Just, you know, I just want things to be functional. Like, the music desk that I bought, I really love because it has space for my keyboard, and it has a built-in rack mount for my compressor and for other stuff. And so that for me was like, it looks cool. It fits the aesthetic of what I already have, which is like wood and black accents. And also it's functional. So that's kind of my main thing, I guess. But those two subreddits I use a lot for inspiration and for finding ideas for stuff. And then the rest of it is just me browsing B&H Photo all the time and trying to find stuff that I like. So someone else has asked, what was the initial reaction when you told your family that you were quitting your full-time job to play video games on the internet? And I've talked about this before as well, that it's just, my mom was super supportive, and she is very much a person who is like, take the leap and see what happens, and if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, you know? So she was very supportive of it. And I called her and I reached the point where I was like, I think that I need to quit my job in order to commit more time to this thing. And the only way that it will work is if I have to quit my job because I don't have enough time for streaming. But I was making enough money streaming that I knew I would be able to afford all of my bills and save a little bit. I did not quit my job until that point because my family grew up pretty, I would say I was pretty middle class, in the 90s. And in college, it was the opposite. It was very, like, times were tough. Money was very tight. We went through a whole bunch of stuff with my family. A lot of, like, family drama. My mom had, like, no money, and I went to a pretty expensive school. So after, I was using streaming to pay off my student loans, and, but before that, when I was in college, I had, like, no money. And I remember, I think those experiences are very, they impress a lot upon you. Going to the gas station and putting $2.40 of gas in your car because that's all you have, skipping meals and, that kind of stuff is just, that I went through that experience and that sucked. But I also think that it, I think that had a huge impact on how I am now and who I am now. And so I was very careful when I was like, I'm going to go from a full-time job to trying to be a streamer. And that's terrifying to me because I'm basically giving up a salary. And my mom was she's very supportive. She's always been really supportive. And she was just like, if you think you can do it, if you think it's going to work and that you're going to be happy doing it, then you should try. And if it doesn't work, then you can find something else. But I also, I didn't quit college to try to be a streamer. I didn't quit high school or whatever. And I know some streamers do that, and that, maybe that's worked for them. I don't know. But I think also she knew, I have something to fall back on. I have my degree if I need, to go back to something more concrete. And my sister was, I don't think my brother or my sister really understood what it was. But eventually, you guys know that I lived with my sister for a couple years, and she let me live with her without paying rent for a little while. So that was really nice too. So my family's always been pretty supportive about it. But I also have a very small family. Like, I have other family members that I'm just not close with. And so I don't think any of them actually even know what I do. And it's just like the people who matter know and have been really supportive. So I actually don't know if my mom has ever watched my stream. I know there's some people whose parents like watch their stream and they just hang out in their stream all the time, and I think I would feel uncomfortable if my mom did that. I don't know why. She's here now. She's among us. So yeah, I don't know. I swear a lot, yeah. I just don't think I would like that. And I don't know. I wouldn't hate it either, but it's just, I think it's a little bit weird. But also, like, none of my family are really social media people. And it's funny because, like, it's basically my job is to be a social media person, and I hate it. I hate social media stuff. And that's why, like, Instagram, I'm constantly just like, hello, last time I posted was several months ago. I just forget that Instagram exists because I don't like posting photos of myself. Yeah, I'll see you guys in like 6 months. I always think to myself, like, oh, I need to post more photos, or, you know, I need to use this. I'm gonna post more regularly. 7 months later. Sorry, guys, I forgot. So nobody in my family has really been very big in social media stuff, and so I think that it would be weird if they suddenly were, like, creeping on all my social media stuff. I don't know. I know that my mom has had her coworkers sometimes who were like, oh, I saw it on your daughter's Twitter, and my mom was like, that's weird. Because I think she just tries to give me my space, and I appreciate that about her. Yeah, like, that is weird. And I think it made my mom kind of jealous, and, like, I can see why, you know, where she's trying to be respectful and give me my space, and then there's, like, some random person she works with who is just like, oh, I'm, like, following what your daughter is doing on on social media, which is, like, I can imagine that she felt like they knew something about my life that she didn't know, and I think as a parent that might be kind of weird. But I appreciate that my mom gives me my space to kind of do my thing, you know? Yeah, okay. What else? What are some of my favorite memories for my streams and my streaming career in general? Number one has got to be meeting Michelle Obama. That was, I don't think I've fangirled so much over meeting someone as I did about meeting Michelle Obama. That was really freaking cool. That and getting to introduce Tony Hawk at TwitchCon. I think those were, like, two big highlights for me. Just because, I mean, it's Tony Hawk. So that was really cool. And the fact that I got to be the person to be like, this is Tony Hawk. Like, I get to write a little paragraph about how cool this person is and then introduce him to a crowd. Like, I don't know. That was really cool. And I don't know. I feel like I've had a lot of, you guys organize some cool stuff for me, and when that happens, I always feel like I don't know how to properly express my gratitude, because it's like a gift from kind of strangers, but not really strangers, you know? Like my chair, my first chair that I got, that Aaron made that embroidered headrest thing. You know, there's, like, the camera that I used to use before I had, like, a webcam, and before I had, or it was after I had a webcam, but it was before I had the DSLR. It was like a Canon video camera. And I have there was a card that you guys sent for me that was, like, I don't know, it was like watercolor kind of thing. And I actually have that. I made a mat for it, and I put it in a frame, and that actually hangs outside the door of my office. So I actually see that, like, every day. And so stuff like that is always, those are, like, nice little memories of things that just, I don't know, nice things that you guys have done for me, which I appreciate, and they're just, like, little surprises, you know? So yeah. And other than that, I would just, like, say probably some of the people that I've met. I've been to just a billion conventions. And the fact that I am a streamer is also the reason that Fromage and I met. So, I just had that, like, realization. Because it's not technically from my stream, but it's a result of me being a streamer, you know? Because if I weren't a streamer, then I wouldn't have gone to Paris for the R6 major, and we wouldn't have met. So, someone asked, if I were a game dev and I had every resource at my disposal, what kind of game would I create? Witcher 4. One with working audio. Actually, you know, oh god, there's a couple ideas that I have that I don't know if they would actually be good games or if it's just something that I want to be able to do. And the first one that I thought of was when we played The Last of Us 2. You know, there's the part where they have like their little town and they're just gardening and building houses and whatever. I would love if there was a game that was just that. I don't want to go fight zombies. I don't want the rest of the story or whatever. I just want to build a town. Not like a, yeah, but like post-apocalypse, but without the apocalypse necessarily. Like I just want to, yeah, like there's no more zombies and you're just rebuilding like a little like cabins and stuff and like cutting down trees and yeah, Stardew Valley, but with the graphics of Last of Us 2. Like a first or third person. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if that would actually be a good game or if it's just something that I would want to do because I like building stuff, you know? It's like Minecraft, but with better graphics. There's that, and then I've also said that I would really love a Star Wars or Expanse themed game where you're just like the captain of a ship and you take jobs. House flipper, but for bombed out towns, right? I just want to be like Star Citizen, but not an alpha for 7 years, right? I want to just have my ship and go to different planets, pick up contracts, smuggle food through, you know, barricaded planets or whatever. It'd be cool though because like imagine if it's like Fable where you get to choose if you want to be like an evil smuggler person and you're like a pirate basically, or if you're a, you know, you want to, like I said, smuggle food or like medicine, you know, or just pick up like regular contracts like you're just moving stuff around. Like No Man's Sky, but less No Man's Sky. I don't know how to explain it. No Man's Sky, I know that they've like done a lot of improvements, but it just, I don't know. I don't know what it is about that game that it just doesn't, it's like cool, but I also feel like it's empty. And they've changed a lot, so maybe it's gotten better since the last time that I played it, but I just remembered going to every planet, and every planet is the exact fucking same. It's like every planet has the same basic atmosphere, all the same planet, like some plants and some like animals that are all about the same size. And that's one of the things that I really liked about the movie Interstellar. When they land on that planet and there's just like massive, like worldwide spanning waves of water. Like that was so cool. And more, you know, realistic. And I think that that would be pretty sick. It was, yeah, terrifying, but also way more realistic. Like every planet isn't gonna have the same atmosphere, and a lot of them aren't even gonna be, like, you can't even go there. The gravity would be too high, or just the chemicals in the atmosphere, whatever. It's just like, I don't know. Anyway, so those are the two big ones. I think that's, I don't know what Starfield is gonna be like. I'm worried because Bethesda has repeatedly let me down the last, like, several games that they've made. And so I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I trust you anymore. I don't know. And especially because, oh god, how much of a disappointment was Mass Effect Andromeda? Ah. God, my hopes were so high. And they were just trampled. It was so sad. And I really, like, I wanted that game to be so good. And it was just it was terrible. Everything about it was horrible. It was pretty bad. It's just not, like, the animations were terrible, the writing was terrible, the characters weren't interesting. I don't know. I wanted to love that game, but my key not working was also a thing. My key not working? I don't remember. Well, it was like this, wasn't it like a sister and brother or something, and you got to choose which one you wanted to play as or something? I think they were trying to do the female shepherd, male shepherd thing where you got to choose, you know, you were choosing if you wanted to play as the femme shep or regular shep or whatever you want to call it, I don't know. But they did it. They did it as like, yeah, they're twins. That was just a really disappointing game. I wish it were more like Horizon. The Horizon series, but done as Mass Effect, I think would be great. Vaguely remember me having to contact EA because the DMR locked me out. I don't remember that, but I trust you because I have a terrible memory for stuff like that. Everything just melts together in my mind over time, and I don't remember. I can't pick out details from one or the other. Okay, next question. Someone asked if I could live on any Star Wars planet, which would it be? And so my first knee-jerk response to that is always Alderaan. You know, if we lived in a universe, well, first of all, if we lived in a universe where Alderaan existed. Second, if we lived in a universe where, it didn't get blown up, you know. No, yeah, I actually wrote down Alderaan or Naboo because they have kind of the same. I feel like I get the same kind of impression of them as being like a forested world. Maybe Endor. Kashyyyk is just like Kashyyyk is. My knowledge of Kashyyyk is that it's just millions of Rorschach trees, which are huge, and I can't climb, and I also would be afraid of falling to my death, and probably would fall to my death. So, if I'm not a Wookiee, so I can't really. I don't think I'd be able to live there, you know. But like Coruscant would be a nightmare unless I were rich, you know. If I were just like a billionaire and I could live on Coruscant, but it's just like a worldwide city. That's like a nightmare. There's nothing green. I don't know. I wouldn't want that. So Dathomir is like desert planet, so I don't know if I would like that. It's like the desert of Utah, but a planet, and also with like Dathomiri. So I don't think that would be good either. Maybe Endor though. I think Endor, Alderaan, or Naboo, because I don't know, there's just like forests and waterfalls and stuff, which would be cool. I could be a Dathomir witch. If I were a witch, then like that might be interesting. But I was just imagining like regular me, you know. Because imagine you're just a regular person living on Dathomir, and there's witches you have to worry about. Like that would be terrible. I wouldn't like that at all. Someone else asked, is there a game that you wish you enjoyed more, whether it just being due to popularity or seeing others enjoy it? The number one thing that I thought of here instantly was Valorant. I try to like Valorant. I try to play it, and it's just so boring. Every game is like an hour long. You have to play the same character the entire time, the same map, the same sites. They don't even, like, it's the same 2 or 3 sites. You play the same character for like 40 rounds, and you just do the same thing every time. And it's just a matter of like who gets the headshot or not. And so I really, like, I try to like it, and I struggle with it. And I still, like, I might try playing it in the future again, you know, like we've been playing Fortnite and I'm just kind of like playing other stuff. But I can't, like, people who sit there and play it for like 8 hours, it's just, I mean, and then you get the same map. You get the same map twice in a row. Twice, 3 times in a row. And it's just like, okay, you play Sage. Well, you put the wall here, you put the ice there, and you do the same thing every round. Every round you put the wall there and you put the ice there. Okay, next round, put the wall there, put the ice there. Next one, put the wall there, put the ice there. 12 rounds later, doing the same thing. It's just, I don't know, man, it's just so repetitive. So I really, like, I wanna like it because there's so many people who love it and they enjoy playing it, and I want to play with people who enjoy playing it, and yet it just is mind-numbingly boring. And at the end of it, you don't even get anything. It's just MMR. That's why, like, every game has been ruined for me by Tarkov, because at the end of it, I get to keep stuff. And that's cool. I get to put it in a box and I get to use it later. And yeah, and Valorant is just like, well, the number got bigger or the number got smaller. And there's no, it just feels like the reward is not worth the amount of stress you go through, and like, yeah, I don't know. So I might try playing that more in the future. I wonder if it's just a matter of it like not clicking with me. I mean, I had to play The Witcher 3 times before I finally got past the first 15 hours. I couldn't. I played 15 hours and I stopped. I tried it again. I played 15 hours and I stopped. And once I finally got through it, I mean, I loved it. But it really, it was a slow burn. Like, that was such a slow burn. And yeah. So, I mean, and now, of course, it's like my favorite game of all time. So, so I don't know. It's just like, I feel like I should like Valorant because I like FPS games. And it's just so arcade to me that I struggle with it. Like, it's even more arcade than something like Call of Duty or Siege, you know? Like, it is Omega arcade game. And yeah, Jody's like diamond something. I think I'm like low wood level something. I'm not sure even what I would be. I'm not good at it. Well, it's funny because there's people now in the Discord chat saying, I don't want to watch Valorant, so I'm glad you don't like it. And here I am saying like, well, I might try it again. So sucks to be you, I guess, because I might play it anyways. We'll see. I don't know. So yeah, that's the other thing is there's part of it is the mental thing of not wanting to be dead weight on a team. And the other thing is that Valorant has some kind of system where they try to like root out Smurfs and put you against like other Smurfs basically. And I'm not a Smurf, I'm just a new account. But then I played with like people who are actually good. And I think the game thinks that I'm a Smurf. And so now when I play by myself, all my games I'm like, I'm the lowest ranked person and everybody else is like plat. And I am just like, I don't know what's going on. And they're like, oh, you're a Smurf. And I'm like, no, I'm literally level like 14. Like, I'm not good at this. I don't know what I'm doing. And I think the game mistakenly thought I was a Smurf because of who I was playing with. And so it like threw me into a different queue. And so I don't know. I think I can play. I was playing ranked with people. So I think that's the other thing that's kind of been a struggle with me. I think I played with like, I mean, I played with Jody and Ray and Shroud and stuff and like, and Hannah. And so I think it was like, oh, you're a Smurf. Like, I'm not, I'm literally just, I don't know what's happening, please. Anyways, let's see. What else? Someone asked if I ever miss my quote-unquote regular job versus streaming full-time, and I wrote down, like, there's pros and cons to both. A quote-unquote regular job, you know, like an office job or whatever, I had a predictable salary. My taxes were very easy to prepare. You have regular hours and regular off hours, you know, like weekends. Weekends don't exist for me. And it's way easier to have people to interact with on a daily basis when you're going into an office and like seeing people at the office versus where right now I work from home. I see Fromage, Nova, and Rhea, and that's it. But with streaming, I can set my own schedule. I'm my own boss, basically. So like last week, you know, I was just like, I will see you guys when I see you, you know. There are more opportunities for travel, you know, at least before COVID. I traveled quite a bit and doing like conventions and stuff like that. And like, I mean, obviously, my job is basically to hang out at home and play video games. You know, I know that we talk a lot about, and I know that you guys understand how it is a very complicated and challenging job in a lot of ways. But the root of it is I don't have to go to meetings. I don't have to have phone calls with other people. I don't have any like requirements necessarily from, I kind of do in a way that like my sponsors will say, you know, we need you to post X amount of things per month, or can you do this for us or do that for us or whatever. But in general, you know, I don't have that kind of requirement. Like if I wake up one day and I'm just like, I want to play Minecraft today, then I can. And if I wake up and I say I want to play Valorant or Tarkov or Fortnite, or I want to sit in front of the camera and literally do nothing for 4 hours and you guys will just hang out with me, and I can do that. So I get to decide what I do, you know, on a day-to-day basis, which is great. So oh, and also no commuting. My commute is to walk from, you know, the rest of my house to the office. So that's, I mean, and that comes with its own pros and cons, you know, because when you work from home, your home is your work, and that can be tough on its own. Learning to build or to set boundaries for your work is really tough. I have a very sedentary lifestyle, which is also not good for you. I actually got like a thing called a desk cycle, and so it's like pedals that are underneath my desk, and when I'm not streaming, I can just pedal away. And it's like, I mean, it's not really exercising, but it kind of, you know, like I don't know, I feel like I'm moving my legs, which is nice. I'm doing it right now. No, I'm not. But it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's more than nothing, which is what I was doing before, you know. At least because also, I was talking to Fromage about this. My problem is that when I sit at my desk and I'm playing games, most of the time, 90% of the time, I am sitting with my leg underneath me. Like, I sit with my leg folded underneath my body, which is also not good for you. But I can't sit like with my legs straight down. I hate it. I get so uncomfortable. I feel I'm like physically uncomfortable sitting with my feet straight on, like flat on the ground. So now I have these little like pedal things, and so I can put my feet in the pedals, and it helps me keep my legs like more straight. And even if I'm not pedaling like, you know, constantly for, I don't know, 20 minutes or whatever, I just like have my feet in the pedals and I can just like kind of play around with them. Yeah, I've thought about getting like other things to put on your desk, like a foot hammock or whatever, but I like having this because it's like a footrest, but also it can be kind of active, which is, I don't know, I think that's good too. So yeah, I mean, I miss having a, you know, a graphic design or just like a regular office job, for the fact that, like, I mean, there's, like I said, there's pros and cons. There's also the, like, no one really cares about, I don't have to care about if I have 600 viewers or 700 viewers. Last year I had 2,000 viewers, and the year before that I had 1,000 viewers, and I have to, like, you know, worry about these metrics. That's not like a thing when you're in an office, you know, you're just like doing your job and that's it, you just get paid. And now it's like, I don't know, you have to, you have a lot more freedom because you're in charge, but also because you're in charge, it means that you have a lot more responsibility to do things on your own. So yeah. With working from home and not an office job, does that impact your work-life balance? Oh, yes. My work-life balance is, well, I feel like I've been doing a good job of trying to make that better, but it's definitely, I mean, like, if I stream for 6 to 8 hours in a day, you know, that's not the end of my workday. So for a lot of people, you go to your work, you do your work, you go home, and then when you're at home, you just do whatever you want. Like, that's your free time, you know? Some people get, like, weekends, you know? And for me, it's like, I stream for 8 hours, and then I still have several hours of work to do. And so I've been trying to stream kind of more reasonable hours. I've been trying to give myself at least 1, sometimes 2 days off per week now. And yeah, I've been kind of offsetting some of that work to other people now. I don't really do almost any video editing anymore, which is great. So yeah, and the other thing is that, yeah, I have the type of personality where I get fixated on something that I'm working on, and I could sit and work on something and not stop working on it for days if you don't, like, tear me away from my computer. And so if I start working on something, it's very hard for me to put it aside and, like, in the middle of it without finishing it. And so, yeah, that's really tough for me. Is that I just, like, if I pick up a project, I will keep working on it and I'll forget to eat, I'll forget to sleep, I'll forget about everything else. And it's one of the reasons that it's really nice to have, well, now I live with Fromage, but even before that I had Rhea, and so she would, like, kind of remind me, like, okay, I have to go outside now, or it's time for us to go for our walk. And that kind of started helping me with my work-life balance. And now with Fromage, you know, we have our routine, and that has helped me as well. So, and so one of the other things someone asked was what subject was outside of streaming in my previous work that I would like to learn more about, and I put music and photography are the two, like, big things, because those are also the two kind of hobbies that we talked about earlier. The other thing that I was always really interested in as a kid was marine biology, which I know almost nothing about, but when I was younger, that was something that I thought was very cool and was, like, kind of casually interested in, and I'm still casually interested in. Like, I really like going to aquariums and stuff. So yeah. And DB, you wanted to know how long it takes me to mellow out after a stream? I don't know, really. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I go from streaming to not streaming, and it's just kind of, yeah, it's never a thing that really stops necessarily. It just kind of, you just keep going, and that's kind of it. I don't know, especially because it's something that I do, like, every day. But I'm also, I think it helps that I'm not a very high energy streamer, so what you see on my regular stream is kind of just how I am in my day-to-day, you know? So it's not like I'm not like overacting or like hyping it up or whatever. So I don't feel like I need to like come down off of a high at the end of the stream because I'm just kind of hanging out. And I think maybe if I were that kind of streamer, maybe then it would be a bit different. But that's just not how my energy level kind of works, I guess. So, it's gotta be easier. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's easier for me, for sure. And I'm just not, like, a very hyper person. Like, some people are naturally, they just have a lot of energy, and some people just naturally don't, and I am just a naturally low energy person. And yeah, but, like, if being high energy for 8 hours sounds exhausting, but if someone is naturally like that, then it's not, you know, they probably don't notice it as much. You know, I mean, think about Fuya. Fuya is, like, the maximum energy, and she's like that the whole time. Like, she's always like that. That's just because that's just how she is, you know? How long does it take me to mellow out after whatever I'm playing tilts me? That depends on how bad I get tilted, I think. Like, I've had days where, like, when I have a really bad day of Tarkov, Fromage and I, like, Fromage comes to my office and she's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, I'm fine. And she's like, what'd you do today? I'm like, played Tarkov. It was really bad. She's like, oh, okay. And we got to, like, walk the dog, and I just, like, don't talk. Like, I'm in a bad mood. It takes me a long time. And sometimes, like, if I have a raid where I mess up really bad, or I, like, TK someone, or I, like that one raid I had on reserve where I killed like 7 players and then I died to a player scav because of the one gun that I didn't remember to deal with, and I still think about that and I still get mad. Jeepo's Lapua. He's freaking Lapua that I left and some stupid player scav. And for what? You can't even carry all the stuff I'm carrying. What's the point? Idiot. So I'm a Taurus, so we hold grudges for forever. I read something actually that was like, if you want a Taurus to forgive you, all you have to do is plant a seed in their yard, and when it's a full-grown tree, they'll be ready to forgive you, and that's true. That is true. So that's yeah. Doesn't inspire confidence. Yeah. I mean, in general, it's not too bad. It's tough when Fromage and I both have a bad day of Siege, or if she has a bad day with, her job, and then I have a bad day, you know, we have to work together to kind of dig ourselves out of that, so. Okay, well, it's been an hour. I went through a lot of the questions that I felt like I wanted to answer from the AMA thing. I'm not sure if you guys have follow-up questions. Oh wait, I skipped one. Someone asked if there was a game / book / movie / album that I would recommend for someone to try blind. What would I want them to try? Recommendations like this are very hard. Like, picking one thing, it's very tough because I wouldn't recommend the same thing to one person and another person, because not everyone has the same taste. So for video games, I put down The Last of Us. And this also attaches to someone else asked something about, like, if I could play something blind, you know? If I could forget something and then re-experience it. I feel like these answers are the same, you know? Like, if I could forget The Last of Us and play it over again, I would love if I could do that. Yeah, Subnautica is a good one too. I think for me it would be The Last of Us. And then The Last of Us 2, of course. Music-wise, Pink Floyd. Any of their albums, but probably The Wall would be my number one thing that I wish I could just not have heard it and, like, re-listen to it now for the first time. Also The Mountain by Haken. and probably Lateralis from Tool. I put any Tool album, but probably Lateralis if I had to pick one. Tool or, Lateralis or probably 10,000 Days would be my 2 picks. Although I really like Anima, but I don't know. And then the other things I just wasn't really sure because I feel like books, there's just too many, like, different things. There's too much variety that, I don't know, that I could pick one thing in order for Lateralis. All of those albums have to be listened to in order. The Wall, The Mountain, and Lateralis. All 3 of them, they have to be listened to in order. I do not listen to anything in shuffle, except for if I make a playlist of like instrumental. I made that like instrumental metal playlist and I just dump like albums into a playlist. That's fine. But if you're listening to an album by one artist, you have to listen to it straight through. I can't. People who listen to it in shuffle are, my brain doesn't understand that at all. I don't get it because like the artist has put all the songs in an order specifically. They didn't just throw the songs on there and are just like whatever. Like most of the time I feel like, and maybe it's just the music that I listen to, but the album is meant to be listened to in a certain order. And even when I make playlists, I put them in an order specifically. Playlists on shuffle are cool. But even that, when I make playlists, I put them in an order specifically thinking about how one song leads into the next, the dynamics of one song as opposed to the next song and the previous song. I don't know, I feel like I put a lot of thought into all of that. And so when you just like shuffle it, it's just, I can't do that. Even when it's like random artists and not, you know, they're not all the same, not even the same albums or even the same style. It's like, I just have no idea how one would do that. That's how I make all my playlists. You have to think about how one song relates to the next song. And how the mood moves from one song to the next one. You guys don't do that? I've never thought of that. See, now you'll think about it. I mean, maybe it makes no difference and maybe no one notices, but whenever you listen, all those public playlists that I've made, except for that one that's like instrumental metal music, that's the only one that I think I've ever done that with. But all the other ones, I specifically put them in an order. I put all the songs on the playlist and then I spend time going through each song and moving them around. That's crazy. You've never listened to a full album. From start to finish, you've never listened to a full album. See, that's insane to me. I don't get that at all. Like, have you listened to a full album like you've listened to all the songs at various times? Or you just, like, there's no album that you listen to every single song from ever? Because that's insane. Like, do you just not like music? If you don't like a song, you skip it. How do you, I mean, if you only decide in the first, like, 5 seconds or what? Well, I mean, some people just don't really care about music, which is insane to me, too. Like, I don't understand that, but that's, like, it's just one of those things that I don't understand, you know? Which is not to say that it's bad. It's just that 30 seconds. Oh, my God. 30 seconds is less than, like, half of an intro of one song that I listen to. All my songs are, like, 12 minutes, 14, 16 minutes long. I can't. 30 seconds is like 1% of a song. That's insane. That's crazy. Yeah, I feel like that's fine. Like, you listen to the whole album, you listen to the whole thing, and then if you're like, oh, I don't really like the song, so then you skip it, you know? Yeah, see, 4-minute songs are not I can't. That's not my thing. A friend of yours once said if an artist can't get to the point in 15 seconds, they clearly didn't care enough, and I still think about that. I would not be friends with that person. We wouldn't get along. I just... Yeah, I wouldn't be able to... Like, we just clearly don't see eye to eye, you know? That's like saying if an author can't get to the point in the first page, then they just didn't care enough of, like, a 700-page book. You know? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. That to me is... That says way more about the person saying that than about anything else. Like, that just... They... Like, if you can't listen to a 5-minute song, then maybe it's you who doesn't care about it, you know? I swear he's normal in other regards. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. This person's a wacko. He's got bodies in his garden for sure. No thanks. That's a sociopath. Nope. No. That dude has miniature dolls and enacts scenarios with them in his house. Something's up. I don't get it. I don't understand that. Anyways. Speed questions. Yes or no answers only. Someone asked earlier if I plan to do more music on stream. I don't like doing music on stream because I don't like people backseating me to do things, and music is very personal, and so I don't like it. So I still want to make music, but I just don't like when people are trying to tell me how to do stuff, and for music specifically. So my worst pet peeve. People who live in cities and leave their cats outside. Also wild animals as pets. I really hate. Devin Townsend project I've listened to. I don't know. I feel kind of middle about them. I don't know. Will I ever play Dragon Age 3? Probably no. Aren't they making like a Dragon Age 4 or something? And wasn't there like a tease first for another? Yeah, so like if they make another one in the future, I probably am not going to go back and play like 1, 2, and 3, you know? But in the future, I might be open to playing something like that. I don't know. But, I mean, the Dragon Age 3 thing is just a meme. Yeah, so Fromage and I have talked about outdoor cats a lot. I know that there's people who live like in the country and they have kind of like wild cats that are like barn cats, you know, and stuff like that. That's kind of different, but people who live in cities, I get really pissed off. It's a weird double standard where it's like if you left your dog outside for just like the whole day, people would be pissed at you. If your dog was shitting in other people's yards, you would be pissed at them. And yet people leave their cats outside, and I find like cats pooping, you know, in my garden or whatever, and no one, you know, the HOA is like, clean up after your dog, and it's like, okay, well, clean up after your fucking cat too. Not to mention we have coyotes, we have rattlesnakes, we have mountain lions, bobcats, and people are just like, well, they know how to defend themselves, and it's like, well, why did you adopt a cat and bring it into your family and then just leave it outside and say good luck? That is like a huge thing that I get really pissed about. That don't cats normally clean up after themselves? Have you ever in your life seen a cat with a plastic bag picking up its shit and putting it in the bag and throwing it in a trash can? Because I haven't. I've never seen that before. They bury it. So does it cease to exist when you bury it? They fucking shit in your mulch and then they bury it with like 2 twigs. Now it just doesn't exist anymore? No. It ceases to exist if you bury it. That's insane, dude. Like, you know that's insane, right? Like, I shouldn't have to tell you that, like, if a cat kicks over a rock on top of its shit, the shit is still there. And like, also, if the fact that I'm saying that I have seen it in my yard means that the cat's not actually burying it very well, right? Plus, like, cat pee smells terrible, you know? And if the cat just doesn't really, like, cover it, then... Never seen, like, a problem. There's an impressive amount of cats here. Okay, well, just because it's not a problem for you doesn't mean that it's not a problem for other people. Like, I don't know your life, and you don't know mine either, necessarily, so... Cats, like, house cats also kill, like, loads of birds. It is well documented that they are, like, destroying bird populations because they don't kill for, like, eating. They just kill for sport. It's like hunting is a fun activity for them. And they will just kill birds for the heck of it. And that sucks. So. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, my cat gets bored inside. And it's like, yeah, because you're supposed to interact with your cat. You're supposed to play with them. You're supposed to give them activities and things. You know, it's like having a dog. You're supposed to interact with them so that they're not bored. I don't understand that. It's like, oh god, I didn't get this cat, so I had to interact with it. Anyways, so that's my big pet peeve. That, and like I said, people who have wild animals as pets, I hate that. Cats are really not independent, though. Pramaj and I talk about this a lot. I always thought that cats were very independent, but Nova is constantly following us around the house, and she's always just, like, in a room that has one of us in it, you know? Like, she likes being around us. And when we're not there, she's, like, you know, she meows at us or whatever. She sleeps in the same room as us. She doesn't have to. She could sleep somewhere else, you know? It's like, they're really not, like, they're not super independent, really, like a house cat. But yeah, going back to the wild animals thing, it's like people who are just like, yeah, I can have a tiger as a pet. If I raise it from, you know, a kitten, then it won't be it won't attack me. And it's always other people who pay for that. That's the thing that really, I get really mad because it's always other people. Like there was famously that story of a woman who had like a pet chimpanzee and it had to take like meds, like, I don't know, it was literally a chimpanzee with like mental health issues because it's not meant to be living in somebody's house. Like it's a wild animal. And it like didn't take its meds one day, or she like didn't give it to it. And then, the neighbor went over to check and it just like ripped the lady's face off. Like she was horribly disfigured. Yeah, it was really horrible. It's like a really terrifying story. And so that's what's like, I mean, but like, no, you can't. Like, a tiger is not meant to live in your backyard in the mountains. A chimpanzee is not meant to live with humans. They're meant to live with other chimpanzees. That's what they're like. You know, if you go to the zoo, there's never just like one of them, you know, and I know that zoos are like their whole own other thing, but like there's never, if you just kept one, like that's cruel. They're not meant to be just like by themselves like that. And if you're just like a regular person who doesn't know how to take care of animals, you know, then just don't. Just don't do it. And there was a guy who had like a pet tiger, and the tiger like attacked his 6-year-old son or something, and it's just, that's what it's always someone else who pays for this like weird ass decision, or it's like, just get a dog. There's literally billions of dogs. There are so many cats because we keep overbreeding them and nobody wants to get their pets fixed for some reason. And so like, there's so many of them. Just get a cat, get a dog, get a fish, get a snake, if you want to have a weird pet, get a tarantula or like a salamander or something. I don't know. But no, they're always like, well, I'm gonna have a pet lion. Like, no, just don't. Don't do that. I don't know. Ferrets, I don't know if you're allowed to have ferrets in California. I have met people who have pet ferrets, but I don't know if you're allowed to have them in California. I'm not sure, actually. I think I remember reading at one time that they were not allowed, but I don't know if that's true anymore. I'm not sure. Found a cool blog this morning where they're super experienced with lizards and people submit videos of lizards to them to educate on whether the lizard is happy or if they're displaying stress. That's interesting. That's one of the reasons that I would struggle, I think, to keep reptiles as pets or amphibians. Because I don't know how to tell, like, are you good? Or are you like, you know, with Rhea, when she was sick last week, it was like, I knew something was off because I can read her body language and because I know her very well. And, you know, with a chameleon or something, I would just be like, I don't know, it seems normal. It's just walking around gripping stuff, you know? I don't know, it just seems normal. I feel like, though, I mean, that's something you'd have to learn over time. Yeah, the temperature, the humidity, you know? They took their snake to the vet because it was dying, because it was shedding its skin. Yeah. You just be like, I don't know, my snake is becoming 2 snakes. I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, that's what birds freak me out too, because I can't read their body language. And I don't know, I can't tell if they're like a moment away from attacking me or if they're just trying to play or like hang out, you know? But I mean, I had the same with like cats. I couldn't read cat body language before, and now Nova, I can tell, you know, what her mood is pretty easily. So I think it's something that you can obviously learn. But because I don't have a lot of experience with those types of animals, then I don't really know what they're feeling. Anyways, okay. I guess we'll just, you know, kind of end it here. It's been now an hour and a half. It's funny because I talk at you guys for just hours all day, and yet here I am just talking even more. I could just talk forever, apparently. Thank you all for submitting questions and for voting on them and stuff like that. That was really helpful to me to have stuff kind of advanced so I could think about, you know, what I wanted to tell you guys or what I wanted to talk about. And I did record the audio from this, so I will put that up on the archive YouTube channel as well. And I might try and do a little bit of editing with that to put in like the questions and stuff as well. And yeah, I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow, so I will see you all in the regular place tomorrow. And yeah, thanks for being here today. Thanks for sharing your last hour with me. Goodbye.